Today we're going to talk about Algorand. We're going to do a price prediction because it's been requested and it's been a pretty big laggard. I myself hold this, a small bag of this. If you know in Patreon, you'll know what I'm talking about. We bought it at 20 cents. It's currently down a little bit. But before we go into this, massive offer at my company, Led in Crypto. These are the current prices, right? These prices will not be around for long. There is only 100 coupons left. There's already a big chunk of these being taken, right? You can buy them with these little coupons. Normally 225, normally 120. You get the idea. Huge discounts and they won't be around forever. Back to Alround. So, self-sustaining decentralized blockchain-based network that supports a wide range of applications. It is a pretty decent bit of kit, put it that way, but it hasn't really had much sunlight. When you read this, the ICO, June 2019, bad timing, and it released at the price of $2.40. It didn't really get going, right? And that was its all-time high. Didn't get beyond that in the previous cycle. So there's a lot of value here in my opinion. Why do I say that? When we look at the total value locked, 150 million. Transactions flying through, decent amount of addresses, loads of nodes. Things are there, things are building. It's also a pretty decent, sustainable blockchain that will enable a lot of things to be built on it. A high performance layer 1 blockchain, okay? Now, I don't want to go too deep into it, but I have spoken about the founder before. Very, very credible. Very, very experienced, has won the Godel Prize, in 1993, this one. So in terms of maths and the interest around it, pretty decent. But I'm not going to go too much into the fundamentals. This is more of a price prediction video. So, as I said before, it came out, worst possible time, melted to the floor, and it went up a decent chunk, don't get me wrong, but it didn't really capture the highs of getting an all-time high, okay? Now we're at these lows. When you look at this on the weekly time frame, for the first time in a long time, it is above the moving average or the EMA 21 on the weekly. This is why I want to talk about it. Okay, so where can this go? Well, there's levels of structure to be aware of. There's a lot of elements that you could possibly bug out of this pretty quickly. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of risk to reward here, in my opinion. Let's look at the levels. Weekly time frame, let's just plonk a few obvious levels. This level is an obvious one, in my opinion. This is probably going to be the first level what it wants to go to in terms of a potential price, in terms of a retracement. Now, another obvious level is obviously this one here. Now, you're probably wondering, why do I use line charts? What this gives you is the closure of the candle. And you can see very, very clearly where things stop and turn. $1 psychological level, probably. Again, there's another big one up here. There's been quite a bit of a blockage up here, roughly around $1.60, 50, whatever. And again, up at this top level here. So these are kind of key levels to kind of keep an eye on for the weekly time frame, right? You want to remember the weekly time frame is often key here. So when we go to the chart, that's kind of how it looks. Very, very easy. Little stepping stones you may well find. Now, I'm going to ignore this wick. This wick's a bit not great. On the 3-day time frame again, you so can't see it. On the daily, it's kind of like, again, you can't see it. So that wick to me, in the bin, right? Not needed. I'm going to look at this level here. This obvious level. This to me is probably the top. When we use a fib, let me just do this correctly without making a complete bollock of it. Bear with. Is that the bottom? Let me just have a double check. It is. And what you can find here, which is very, very clear, this level here of significant interest, right? Let me just zoom out again. Boop, boop. Let me just plonk that there, so the old level. So you can kind of see big level of interest, 382. This is the first level we should be interested in. Now, price prediction. You're probably going to be like, oh, where's it going to go? Well, these are two levels that I would be interested in personally if we are going to make a new all-time high. But I know on YouTube there's a lot of kind of talk about things. Let me just show you. Now, we're on YouTube. Now, why did I want to show you this? Because here's some mental price predictions. 100x is touted, $5 plus. There's a couple of like $10, $11. I'm like, okay. Now, what would this mean? Target price is $25 here, which would be Lido. Mental. But as I said, some people are saying 5. Some people are saying more than 5, which is fair enough. 40 billion market cap. But I think that is a stretch, in my opinion. I think that is greedy. So I don't think we're going to go there. Now, as I say, there's a lot of noise, a lot of chatter. Now, for me, $2.56 isn't a bad place. But I would be looking at roughly this kind of level here, or this level. $4 would probably be like, get me out of this bloody thing, because I'd probably go pretty crazy. Now, when we talk about price predictions, it's very, very naive to kind of think, it's just a number, whatever can happen. If it is here, and an asset of this size, in terms of market capitalization, all that kind of stuff, is hitting those numbers, you probably will be like, I should probably take a bit of profit now. You should be taking profit anyways. This level here, for example, this level here, for example, this level here, for example, you should be like 10%, 10%, 10%, whatever it may be, right? Fundamentals may not change. Technicals will change, right? You've got to look at the obvious. The fundamentals of an asset will indicate value or risk to reward. If you're buying low, cool. If you're buying high, good luck. There's a problem. As I say, right, if we're looking at $3, I don't know, $3.24, which is what that level is, 22x from here for an asset of this size isn't bad. Remember, it's a 1.1 billion market cap today. So don't get too greedy, okay? That is all I'm going to say on it. Now, before I go, I will be honest. I'm not a massive holder of this, okay? May well be very, very biased in my opinion. I do like it. I wanted to buy it and I bought it for a little portfolio, as I mentioned in my Patreon. What I will say is this. Often you find that certain assets that have already done a big move may not do as big. So try not to get too excited about a potential run. This may not, disclaimer, may not go beyond its all-time high. Why? Because it hasn't in the second cycle, which is kind of a bit of a worry. This came out hot in June 2019 and it never gone past that price point. The supply has obviously changed now. As you can see, there's about, I think 80% of the supply is out, which is good in a way, but we'll see if that kind of hinders it. I'm talking about the likes of XRP in the past, or a couple of other bigger coins back in the day, didn't go well beyond its all-time high because it just didn't do it. The reason why I say that, and let me just go finally to the BTC pair. You can see very, very clearly it didn't really, it's because I'm also funny, didn't really get going, right? So big reservations in terms of massive price predictions, right? Unless something really does change in the framework here. Now, that being said, buying low and selling high, yeah, you can make a lot of money here, but don't expect it to fly, because this may only do a 5x in the BTC pair, but obviously Bitcoin, if that carries on going, it's going to reflect in that USD chart. So try not to get too bogged down. This didn't really do much in the previous cycle. When we talk about previous cycles, just on BTC pairs, bear with me, it didn't do like this. Near Protocol, for example. Polkadot, for example, right? They looked very, very different, certainly in that cycle. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Anyways, before I go, please do check out this. Link is in the description, learningcrypto.co.uk. 5 years, this company's been around, 5 years. Ooh, awesome.